Hello, very welcome to Progress Junior Golf with Content Live Golf. My name's Steve Jackson, and this is Ian Waterhouse.
Hello, Steve Jackson. How are you?
I'm all right. Good to see you again.
It feels like a long time since we've done this, but did you know this is episode 10? We're into
We've
double
managed to get
figures
to
now.
double figures somehow. You've managed to cope with me for this amount of time. So congratulations to you, and congratulations to everyone else for putting up with this. So yeah.
I feel like we're in different countries as well. By the way, we look like we're in different. I look like I'm like in the Mediterranean, but I'm not.
No.
I'm in Bracknell.
and I'm still in England, so which was different from last week, of course, because we were in Scotland last week. So obviously, or the last podcast. So now this podcast is all about junior golf. It's about the next generation of golfers. It's about trying to get more boys and girls into the game. As you mentioned, show number 10. Today we're going to be talking about junior golf. Now it's an important subject because there's been lots of talk. We've done a lot of talking about trying to get more juniors into golf. Well, there's kind of like the elephant in the room, and that's how do you pay for that? Obviously, the cost of living is going up, petrol, gas, everything is going up in price. So it's more expensive to play the game, more expensive to get there, and not just individually, but also for golf clubs as well. So we need to find out ways of funding junior golf. So pleased to say that we've got hopefully some answers today. Joining us live on the show is award-winning golf professional Brian Mudge. So he'll be telling about what he's done at his golf club over a number of years, many years, in fact, to promote junior golf and doing a fantastic job. We're also going to hear from European Challenge Tour professional Ryan Evans, who can give an idea about how much it costs to play in some of these junior competitions and elite amateur competitions. And let me tell you, it's not cheap as well. So there's plenty of money which needs to be raised.
Talking of that though, Steve, I mean, we talk about Challenge Tour. There was a post recently from a pro, wasn't there, on Corn Ferry Tour, and he was talking about he shoot a 68, a 69, a 69 and a 68, and he said, I came away with less money than I started the week. It's unbelievable, yes. Isn't it?
I did see that post. You're right. I saw the same one, and I thought, wow, how difficult is it for these guys, kind of thing. And that's at professional level where they can earn money. And obviously, when we're talking about junior golf and amateur golf, you can't quite earn. Well, you can't really earn anything.
You can't earn anything.
So, but we're also going to hear from Stacey McNicholas, who works for the Golf Foundation. She was actually one of the nominees for the England Golf Awards, nominee for Women and Girls Trailblazer category. So she can give us some ideas about the authorities, how they can help out with funding, both at individual and at club level as well. So really important messages that hopefully we're going to go across in this show. Definitely. Now, first things first, though, let's get the golf news then. We'll start off talking about actually a professional event, the Rose Ladies Series, which took place at Walton Heath. Now, for those who aren't aware, the Rose Ladies Series was set up by Justin Rose and his wife, Kate, a couple of years ago, basically because of the pandemic, to try and give female professional golfers the opportunity to play in some competitions to actually earn some money. At the same time, also, amateurs were also invited as well to play in some of these events, and also juniors as well, give them some experience, give them the opportunity to compete against the best. And there's one golfer who did not just compete against them, but beat them, and that's Rachel Gawley from Arcot Hall. There she is there, who shot a 69 at Walton Heath to win the event by 2 shots. Now, in fourth place was someone you might have heard of called Dame Laura Davis. I don't know if you've ever heard of her.
I've had the pleasure of interviewing her a few times as well.
So, absolutely, yes. You see. So, and alongside her was another couple of teenagers as well, Anna Molly and also Lottie Woad as well, who of course we know very well. Now, the interesting thing with Lottie is the fact that result came literally on the day that she'd found out that she wasn't in the Curtis Cup team. So she was in the initial squad of 12, which was then cut down to 8 players a week or so back for the event, which takes place on June the 10th to the 12th. So of those 8 players, Hannah Darling is the youngest player. She's 18 years old. I mean, the oldest player is 22. So obviously you've got a very young squad there. But credit to Lottie, the fact that she obviously did well in that competition. She then went on as well to win the team prize in the Welsh Ladies Open Stroke Play Championship, finished 5th in the individual there. So that's the way to respond to it, isn't it?
And also, Steve, I think as well,
performances.
I think I'm correct in saying this as well, Lottie made her Access Series debut and scored a top 10 as well. So pretty impressive stuff. And with Rachel, by the way, what a year she's had. Sunnydale Foursomes champion, of course, winner on the Rose Series. I think she picked up a title in Scotland as well, didn't she? 2.
Absolutely.
I mean, she's won 3 big tournaments already, and it's only the beginning of May. There's a big future ahead, isn't there, for these 2 young ladies?
Yeah, she might have timed it. If she'd have been a little bit later, she might have been in that Curtis Cup squad herself. You see, so playing so well.
On form, she should be in
Absolutely.
it. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now we mentioned Lottie there as well. Now she will be a replacement for the Curtis Cup. I don't know. I mean, if I'm being honest, replacements very rarely do they make it in. There has to be an injury really. There's a second replacement as well, which is Beth Coulter from Ireland. Now she actually was the youngest player in the entire squad. She was 17 years old. Now credit to her as well, because she's not only gone and won something as well since then. Yeah. So she's certainly informed. She's won the Ulster Women's Championship. There she is. At Port Stewart. Kirkistown Castle is the club that she represents there. Actually, I've got to say that the photo today, we should have a little competition today about, isn't it lovely to see some smiley faces? I think all of the pictures today that we're going to show are all people. You can tell that they're enjoying their golf. Put it that way.
It's because a lot of them have got trophies in their hands, Steve. That's why. Looking at these pictures, I think we've got 6 or 7 pictures, and about 5 of them have trophies in them. So, in fact, let's go on to the next one then. So, Sean Keeling, staying in Ireland, he won the Connaught Under-18 Boys Championship at Galway. He represents Roganstown, so well done to him. Wales, the Welsh Men's Open Stroke Play Championship. Another teenager did really well there. 17-year-old Colin Burford from Rutland Golf Club. Now he won with a 4-round score of 287. You mentioned the good smiles on the face, aren't they? Yeah, does help when you got a trophy. Yeah, he won by 1 at Ashburnham. Rutland, the track I know very well as well from the Faldo series. They play at Rutland.
Absolutely, yeah. So he learnt at a decent golf course. He was the first winner of that, the first Welsh winner of that competition. Since 2013. Fellow Welsh golfer Matt Roberts finished second in that event. Actually, a few weeks earlier, we missed this in the last podcast, but 18-year-old Tom Bastow from Isle of Purbeck, he finished tied first in the Duncan Putter at Southern Down Golf Club. He finished with level with Sean David. From P&K Golf Club. There was no playoff in that competition, but although they finished tied. But as you well know, playoffs are a little bit. You have to get careful with playoffs, don't you, about videoing them and just in case something goes a little bit wrong.
Can I just say that we, for those who don't know, we were broadcasting the 2020 Pro Tour last week up at Rockcliffe Hall, and there was a rules controversy there. Chris Hansen, of course, former European Tour player, won the playoff against Dan Brown. However, it transpired that he took, he placed the ball in the wrong position. It was DQ'd, which was a shame for him. However, I will say we've had 250,000 people watch that playoff now because of the controversy. It's been shared across the world. So, hey, it's all good. It's all good press.
VAR in golf, isn't it?
From the media side of things, it's brilliant.
Absolutely. Now, so going back then, some big events that have been taking place in recent weeks. The Fairhaven Trophy, obviously no playoff in that competition we just mentioned there. Definitely no playoff on this one because Ben Brown from Robanby Golf Club, he won by 5 shots, 66, 69, 72 with his last 3 rounds. Started with a 71. But it all came down to the first hole at Fairhaven. Basically, in his second round, he holed out for his second shot for an albatross on the par 5. Third round, didn't get an albatross, just missed the green, so he just holed an 80-footer for eagle in the third round. So that's the way to start a round of golf. So well done to him.
Also, sorry, Steve, to interrupt. Talking to Ben Brown, he played in that 2020 Pro Tour event as well, and he was leading amateur.
So he's obviously another player to watch out for, someone who's playing really well. Another one as well who did really well in the Fairhaven Trophy, Josh Berry, who finished third from Doncaster. He won a Clutch Pro Tour event, I think, at the Belfry a few weeks ago, or might have been very recently. He carried a course record 65 in the final round there. So another player in good form. The Girls' Trophy, that was won by Katie Poots from Ireland. She finished on 1 under par, actually improved as the tournament went on, finished with a round of 72. Second place was Isla McDonald O'Brien, who also finished runner-up in the R&A Girls Under-16s Amateur Championship, which took place at Enville. She's a Shrewsbury member, finished joint runners-up, actually. She was 4 shots behind the winner, though. Another informed golfer. We're talking about players who could have made it to the Curtis Cup squad. This is another one, I think, well, can't say for certain, but is on that way.
Isla's a Faldo regular as well. I'm sure she played in the grand final last year too.
Yes, she did. You're right. She did. Grace Crawford, though, from Scotland. She's the one to watch out for. North Berwick Westlink. She won by 4 shots. There she is. Yeah, she also won the Helen Holmes Scottish Women's Open previous week. I've got to say that's a fist bump on the right hand side. Now, I love my photos with fist bumps. I say whenever you hold a putt, give a good old fist bump. It does help when you just eagle the last hole to win the tournament, mind you. So I think she probably deserved the fist bump. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So previous winner of that competition was Hannah Darling. As we mentioned, she's playing in the Curtis Cup. So some quality coming through there. Lytham Trophy, that took place. Another Scottish golfer did well in that. Another in-form one, 15-year-old Conor Graham was runner-up there at Royal Lythington. And Beaconsfield's John Goff won. Outrageous chipping birdie on the 17th, and then a solid par down the last won it for him.
John Goff, sorry. We talk about Rachel Gawley has had a year. John Goff has had some 12 months as well. English amateur champ. He won the Spanish amateur championships as well. I think he's on his fourth big win in 12 months. Wow. And by the way, he is the nicest bloke as well, because after we broadcast the English amateur champs, afterwards, never had this before, he came to find us to thank us for filming it because his friends and family could watch. And I was like, what are you thanking us for? You're the one who's been playing. Nicest bloke you've ever met.
I wonder if it had said that if it had quadrupled the last hole to miss out. I wonder if it
would probably punched me in the face. But
right, just a couple more to finish with then. West of England Stroke Play Championship, that took place at Saunton. Winner was Charlie Thornton with a 65, second Jack Brook. A couple of teenagers to finish third and fourth, though. 2 players who we know very well. Daniel Hayes from Bramhall, he finished 1 shot further back. And Sam Potter from Kedleston, he was a further 2 shots back there. Northern Junior Golf Tour, then this was an event which was covered in the podcast last time, because I said I was at Brancapath Castle to cover the event. Took some photos of the players who were taking part of it. Wow, I mean, there you go. That's the 9th hole there, which apparently one golf magazine a few years ago said that's the hardest par 3 hole in the world, not just anywhere in this country, in the world.
That's a claim. That's a bold claim.
Absolutely, yeah. I parred it, by the way, when I practiced my practice round. So
oh dear. There's no video evidence of that, conveniently.
No, fully enough there isn't. And I was playing on my own as well, so I can't even have a witness to tell you. But anyway, there you go. Best scores in that, best net scores, 64 from Matthew Bennett from Wearside and Charles Calvert from Richmond in Yorkshire. Gross 74 from Alex Bowes and Adam Watkin. The girls' categories, there was 3 age categories. A couple of them, there was a gross and net winner of both of them. That's Millie Hickson and Holly Thompson. Now, that was the Northern Junior Golf Tour's first junior event of the year. They've had since then already, they've had 4 rookies events at Alnmouth, Selby, Windermere and Cockermouth. The winners of those competitions, or the best net scores, Connor Best, Charlie Porter, Abby Fiddler and James McMahon. Now, I know we did this in the last podcast to try and guess what the scores were. I'm not going to put that on you because it's going to be cruel. But the winning scores were
way out last time anyway.
It'll be even further out this time, right? So net scores -20, so 20 under par.
Wow.
22 under par, 15 under par, and 20 under par with the 4 scores there. Not bad, eh?
Yeah.
Shall I add the and finally bit?
Yeah, go on.
There were 9-hole competitions. So they're carrying on for another 9 holes. They might have been 44 under par or whatever. So,
wow.
And another junior golf tour, they've got another event coming up on Sunday at Macclesfield as well. I have to say, as Progress Junior Golf, we've got all these competitions on there. So events coming up. I mean, there's loads of junior opens out there, which British Junior Golf Tour, they've got events coming up. US Kids, they've got some of their starting events. East Midlands, London, Northern Ireland. Junior European Open. The Wee Wonders, which was mentioned in the last podcast, they've started putting on a few of their events on there as well, so that's good. And Schools Golf, which we've covered on the podcast previously, they've got their first ever sellout in an event. That's at Windlesham, and that takes place tomorrow. And there are other tournaments.
Oh, that's just down the road from me, Windlesham. I've played it a couple of times.
Well, nip down there and see them though. So, and just finally, I want to give a best of luck. I know you've got some announcements to make as far as what you're up to, but just finally, best of luck to the Rigby Wolby family. Now, why am I saying that here? Buckinghamshire.
Well, Grace. It's to do with Grace, definitely.
Buckinghamshire Ladies County Championship taking place at Ellisborough Golf Club. Now, both Grace and the sister Lily have both made it through to the stroke play qualifying for the knockout stages. And guess what? They're playing against each other in the last 16 on Saturday. So like I say, best luck to the family, because do not take sides. If one of them wins, be happy for them. If one of them loses, be sad for them. But just do not comment on any of the game.
That'd be an interesting dinner out that night, won't it? Saturday night.
Absolutely, yeah. I can imagine, can't you? So, but yeah, well unto both of them to make it through to the knockout stage.
Yeah, that is fantastic. That really is.
So that's the junior golf news. You've got some professional golf news to tell us about.
I've got some professional golf news, actually. We've got quite a busy month coming up. I've got 3 announcements, actually. The first one, a fairly small one. Well, it's not actually that small. I'm delighted to say we're back with Touch Pro Tour next week at Chart Hills for their first major of the season. So we're going to be broadcasting the final day live. It's going to be a huge event. There's a Challenge Tour spot up for grabs. I think the prize pot for the winner is about £10,000, so it's well worth tuning in for that one. That's next Tuesday. On to the Friday, Steve, and this is something that is of interest to you as well. I'm just going to pop this down so we can see the Cairns Cup. It's been delayed for 2 years, and it's finally getting underway. The Cairns Cup, it is disability golf, and it is Europe taking on the USA at the Shire, London, the golf club, as you can see, and it's going to be a cracking event. We're going to be there Wednesday, actually, we've got some behind the scenes content coming up. We've got the captain of Europe and the captain of the USA. We're going to be chatting to them. But on Friday, just like the Ryder Cup, it's the singles. You can watch it live with us as well. I'm delighted to say that is going to be a lot of fun. And I know, Steve, we might have something coming up on this podcast too.
Absolutely, we have. We're going to be coming to disability golf within junior golf as well in one of the podcasts coming up, because we're going to be talking to various people about the things that they have to deal with, which we as able-bodied people won't necessarily be aware of, and in particular with juniors as well, the stigma of it. So it'd be great to obviously cover this subject. I'm going to be hopefully covering a competition which is taking place in Northamptonshire, find out what's going on, and chatting to a few different people about that. And I think we're hopefully David Gamble, who remember came on from Cambridgeshire Golf Union, his daughter's going to come on and chat about some of the things that she's had to deal with as well, which is fascinating as well. The fact that the issues that she's had to cope with, and she's really into her golf still and still moving on forward. So it's quite inspirational, I've got to say, and I'm sure that event will be on Friday as well.
It's going to be an absolute cracker. I can't wait for it. Now, I do have one final bit of breaking news. And look, I've even got the text to announce this one. It is professional golf news. It's not junior golf. So apologies, everybody. But it's been a deal I've been working on for a long time. And I'm delighted to say it's going to happen. We've even created a new logo for ourselves. We're moving away from Content Live and become Live Sport now. And I'm delighted to say this season we are broadcasting live the Euro Pro with Matchroom Sports and Sky as well. So we are going to be broadcasting this live across social media. The final 2 hours of, well, so far the first 3 tournaments, but the fingers crossed, if it's a success, we'll do the entire season. The final 2 hours of the final day, first of all at Hardyford, at Telford, and there's one other as well, which I can't remember because the signal's rubbish, but we're going to have to check that one out. So yes, I'm delighted you'll be able to watch Europro live on social media in the final 2 hours. Hardyford is the last Friday of this month, so you can tune in and watch Europro live and free. You don't need a Sky Sports subscription anymore. So there you go. That's my breaking news.
Absolutely, and staying with junior golf, there's bound to be some junior golfers who are just coming into the professional game who are going to be playing in that competition. So it might be their first opportunity to start winning a few prizes at a professional level. So all good for
we've got a new website as well, everybody as well. Check it out, livesportnow.uk. Do go check it out. Shameless plug-in.
Absolutely, get the plug in. Why not? Right, let's get on with the podcast then, because we are talking junior golf. We're talking about funding within junior golf. Let's bring on our live guest then straight away. Let's bring on. I'm
going to bring him on, Steve. I'll get out your way, and I'll bring Brian in.
So that's Brian Mudge, who's Overston Park professional. Good evening, Brian. Let's check the microphones, make sure we can still hear you.
Evening, Steve. Evening, Ian. Thanks very much for inviting me on your show.
Absolutely. Now, so for those people who aren't aware, obviously I've known you for many years, so I've got a pretty good idea about what you've done with junior golf. But just give us an idea of what you've done at Overston Park to try and promote junior golf and how you've gone about doing it.
Right. Well, I'm on my second spell at Overston now. I was there from 93 to 2007, and then I came back in and I was involved with the Golf Foundation then, with the sort of golf routes. I'm not sure if golf routes existed then, but we were a learning centre, so we were getting a little bit of funding from the Golf Foundation during that period. But it was just building up our junior membership. But 2015, I came back from Cambridgeshire and sort of started again at Overston, and that was the thing that really shocked me when I went back, because when I left Overston, I think we had 111 juniors on the coaching programs, which was all done by me because I was the only coach really. I moved to Collingtree for a short period, and we boosted it to 165, about 15 or 16 groups having just production line coaching. Went away, as you know, to Cambridgeshire for a project which unfortunately didn't work out. But when I came back, I think came to Overston, we had about 3 junior members, one of which was Bailey, and there was a couple of others. So in that sort of period, 7-year period, all the juniors had disappeared. So one of my first tasks by the general manager then was to build up the junior section. I think fortunately we got a little flyer from the Golf Foundation about a new scheme that they were doing, which is being sort of supported by the HSBC, and I showed it to our captain. I said, well, what do you think we can do here? Captain of the day, a guy called Stephen Moore, and the lady captain Glynis Winjall. But said, what can we do here? Can I do something with this? Get into schools, do a bit of try golf, but really it's all about getting them to the club. It's all very well teaching them with plastic clubs, but can we get them over to the club, playing golf, having regular coaching? But we had to have a sort of a community scheme to it. So it was really offering the golf at the time. I think there was a bit of lull in junior golf anyway, in the sort of 2010 to 2015 period anyway, whether that was a national thing. So there were perhaps other things going on. So how do we get them playing golf again? Because golf, I think, was clearly on the decline nationally, and maybe not county, because I think Northamptonshire has always been a good county for junior membership. So we sort of devised a plan of going into the schools, helping effectively sporting underprivileged children. They were just not getting enough sport, and obviously we wanted to attract them to golf. I mean, we probably got about 7 big schools, primary schools near us, probably within a 4 or 5 mile radius, and yet it's probably quite rare that they know that there's a golf course just down the road. That was the feeling then. So we got together a scheme where I went into several schools in the local area. We sort of got to know the sports organisers there, and we kind of built up communication with them. And main thing was then to get them back to the club. We gave them sort of free coaching. That was the plan. I mean, HSBC liked our plan, gave us £1,500 grant to do it. Captain of the day, Steve Moore, was so kind of pleased with that response and the plan he'd put together, basically, with a little bit of input from me. He decided to put all his money from his charity raising that year to this plan. So he said all the money was going to go to that, for coaching and funding all this.
So we'll go into more details of how the funding came about, kind of thing. We've obviously got the Golf Foundation. It's something you mentioned in the Golf Foundation. We've obviously got Stacey McNicholas, who I had a chat with earlier today, and just found out what the golf authorities can do for promoting junior golf, and how they can financially help, not just individual golfers, but golf clubs as well. Let's just hear from Stacey.
Have several organisations within golf that can really help support golf clubs, individuals, get support and financial assistance. The Golf Foundation can help golf clubs and junior sections to access support, resources and funding to help them introduce new children to golf, but also to help them build their junior section up and also to retain juniors. So if there are any clubs or volunteers, coaches looking for support, they can contact the Golf Foundation, their regional officer. The information is on our website, and the best thing to do is for them to contact the regional officer, who can have a meeting or a phone call and discuss further about the support available. So the England Golf Trust can help young people who are either in full-time education or under the age of 21. There's various bursary grants schemes available through the trust that can help young people who are in financial need or deprivation. There's an England Golf Trust grant which can be applied for by the young person. Obviously, if they are young, for example, primary age, a parent can support with that application or a guardian. So there's a grant available. There's also bursaries available for young people in further and higher education. So we have several schemes available there that can help with golfing expenses or university expenses as well. There's also, we have a scheme called Ping Prodigy, which helps young people access equipment as well, which is funded in partnership with Ping, which is really good. And we also have a grant scheme available for youngsters with a disability, young golfers. So again, there is support and a grant available for that. So we do have support available, and we're really keen to try and reach young people who are in deprivation or in need of support, financial need.
There's bound to be people out there who might be a little bit overawed by that, in the sense of, where do I even start there? Because obviously there's so many different ways that they can go about it. So what would your advice be then initially, let's say for an individual out there who would like to play golf but just doesn't have the funding to do that?
I think the best thing I would suggest is you could contact your golf club directly, your local golf club, and see if they could help. If they're offering, some clubs offer free or funded taster sessions, so that could be a route to go down. You could again go to your HSBC Golf Route Centre, which the Golf Foundation can help with. There is also the England Golf Trust website, so if you've tried golf and you're looking to continue, you know, you've maybe done a taster session or a few lessons or done it through your school and want to do more, I would go to the England Golf Trust and have a look at their financial support available. Again, if we can share the website through this podcast, then that would be great for people to be able to have a look at the information and grants available.
If there's a golf club listening and they perhaps they may not have had quite a big junior section in the past, what would your advice be to them of how to go about to get the funding to be able to do that?
There's various ideas that clubs can put in place, and again, there is those grants and support available to help with that. But if clubs are looking to grow their junior section, we'd always recommend taster sessions, whether that's in schools, in the community, or back at the golf club, and putting on introductory coaching programs to help bring them into the club. Again, that's where you can get the wider club involved, volunteers or young people to help run them as well with the PJ professional. So if clubs are looking to grow junior sections, that's one area that you could look at to help grow junior golf at your club. And we don't want finance to be a barrier for any young person. Again, you can have a look, again, there's support and subsidised equipment, or I know some clubs do often they will lend equipment to young people. So if you want to try golf or you want to go into coaching, most clubs do offer equipment that they can use, so that's not a barrier to stop you. And I think there is a big perception that golf can be expensive, but it doesn't have to be. And again, Golf Foundation are really keen to support clubs. The England Golf Trust is out there to help. We are really keen to reach those young people, so do have a look and reach out and have a look into what is available. Again, I know some parents have sort of passed on equipment to other juniors and clothing and things like that to help with the expenses of golf. And there's lots of clubs that are really keen to get new young people in. So do contact them, do come in, get in touch with myself at the Golf Foundation or our regional officer, and we'll be really, really keen to help you start or continue your journey in golf.
The Golf Foundation is not just for England golf, is it? It's for UK golf. Is that correct?
Yes. So we have Wales Golf and Scottish Golf who support clubs locally, and they have officers to help with that. And we do work in partnership with them and have programs where we run jointly. But we do have several regional officers that do cover England primarily, but there is again support available. If you are listening from Scotland or Wales, please get in touch. We can certainly signpost you to the right points of contact in those areas.
But I know that in particular you've done a lot of work and were nominated for your work with the girls side of things at the England Golf Awards. So just give us an idea about what specific packages there are available for girls in particular.
The organisations I work with, we do support any young person, boys and girls. If you are a female listening, there are specific projects and support that you can access. So each county association will have a specific girls setup or section that can support girls with their participation. So depending upon your county, you will have a junior organiser or a coordinator or a point of contact you can go to. I know through my voluntary role that I'm involved with in my own county, we run coaching, get-togethers, competitions, events for all levels. And again, we get funding and support in to help subsidise them. So I'm sure whichever county you are in, there is that support and that provision available. From the Golf Foundation perspective, again, a lot of our programs are focused on sort of introducing children, getting them into coaching programs, also retaining them. We have a girls leadership program that we run. So if you are a girl golfer who's really keen to go into a career, we do have that we currently run annually. Again, some clubs run specific introductory or coaching programs which we help them with. There's also Girls Golf Rocks, which England Golf run as a affordable, some clubs pay, some run a 6-week program. So I think that's roughly about £35 this year, and they can get a goodie bag and 6 weeks of coaching. So that's very much in line with a lot of other sports and what they are offering. At the England Golf Trust, we do have grants and schemes available for boys and girls. We do specifically have the UZLE bursary, which is for further and higher education females studying. And again, there's support available through that grant of up to £2,000 per year for 3 years for female students. So if you are in that position, have a look at the England Golf Trust website, englandgolftrust.org, and you can find that information. So some of it's quite generic to boys and girls, but there are specific programs and initiatives available for girls.
Give us out all the website addresses and the contact information which are the appropriate ones then for people to get in touch with.
Yeah, so to simplify it, have a look on the websites, contact info on there. The Golf Foundation is www.golf-foundation.org. For the England Golf Trust, it's englandgolftrust.org. And then if you're looking for your county association, the best thing to do is go on Google, search your county name, and put in Golf Association, and it should direct you to your correct Women's Golf Association. There's normally a junior specific section on the website, but it's the junior organiser contact to look for.
So that was Stacey McNicholas then from the Golf Foundation. Obviously you listened to that for the first time, Brian, but I'm guessing that some of the things which she's mentioned there in terms of the funding which are available to golf clubs is some of the things which you used as part of what you were trying to do at Overston Park. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, I think I probably had about 30 years of a little bit of funding off the Golf Foundation every year. So it's tremendous what they do. I mean, I've loved being involved with what they do. I mean, what Stacey was saying there was loads of things really. You could, there's almost too many in a way for one pro. We tended to look at what we wanted to do, but the disability thing and is really good as well. But you can only spread yourself so far really. So I think we concentrated on just trying to initially build up our junior section, because that's really the thing. Unless you get the kids playing golf in fairly big quantities, and because I'm just trying to think back about, I haven't got my figures in front of me, but for every 50 children, I would say we may produce 5 to 7 junior members. So and we give them a fair bit of coaching, but we lose them along the way. So
So let's go through that process, because obviously you're an experienced coach now. You've been doing this for many years, so you've had that conversation with whether it's your club captain, whether it's your general manager, whoever it is at the golf club. So what kind of conversation, if there's a golf club or a golf professional watching this and going, I'd love to go through that, but how do I even start that conversation whereby the answer's going to come back, you're probably going to lose 50% of them. How do you counter that? How do you convince the club to go with it?
Yeah. I don't think you necessarily lose them forever, because they'll come back. I'm just saying, most of the kids I teach do about 6-7 different sports. So golf is time consuming. So ultimately you need money as the key thing. You need money and enthusiastic people to do the job, not only the coaching side, but the administration side as well. I used to do all that, but now there's a great group of people at our club that really help with whether it's the organisation of the sixes, the roll-up, social competitions, all that sort of thing. So we try and sort of nurture our juniors as much as we can. Sort of getting them in the coaching, getting them integrating them into the junior section, and we find a lot of our juniors now are helping the younger ones come on. It's very fragile, junior golf really, because you could easily the whole system could break down easily.
As happened, because obviously you came up with a perfect example there, whereby you left a golf which had a flourishing junior section and came back, less than a decade later to nothing again. And how demoralizing must have felt a little bit, all the hard work that I put in, kind of, did it feel as if it had gone to nothing?
It was a bit sad. It was nice when people sort of rejoined the club, because I'd come back and they said, oh great, you're back, and we got the programs going again, and suddenly we saw juniors, because members were saying to me, it's so sad to not see junior golfers playing on the golf course. We've perhaps built it up now where it may have gone the other way. They might be a bit sick of them, because there's so many of them, our juniors, winning events. Probably hasn't actually reached that yet, to be honest, but the members of the club are very supportive of what our juniors do. So my goal is, which would be great, is we've just about got the level now where the amount of juniors playing in adult competitions is about right, but we could get to the stage when our next group start coming through and getting handicaps that allow them to play in adult events. We might have to start having qualifying events within the junior competitions to play in the adult events, which actually that might seem a bit negative, but I think see that as a very positive thing really, because as long as the club say, well, look, we want in every adult club member adult member event, we want 10 or 15 juniors playing. Obviously they couldn't necessarily accommodate 50 because obviously you appreciate the members are paying quite a large amount to play the course.
Now, you mentioned there about how the members might react to juniors and perhaps being too many juniors. We're not going to name names with clubs here, but we're all well aware of golf clubs out there who don't promote junior golf as much as they would like, kind of thing, and they come up with excuses for the reasons why they wouldn't do that, and that might well be one of them. The thing that you just said there, in the sense of, I play off, I don't know, whatever, 15, 16 handicap, and someone comes in off a 54 handicap and absolutely walks all the competitions. And then as you got with your club, you might have the next year's worth of juniors to do exactly the same thing the following year. So how do you, as a professional, how do you counter that? How do you kind of like get them on board, the members? Because it's getting the club on board, but it's also getting the members on board as well.
Well, I think that goes back to 2015 when we got the original grant, because we sold it to the members and management as well, because you've got to create this perfect storm of support of the management, because they realised that we were quite expensive really for junior membership. I mean, our junior membership was like 250 quid, and new owners came in and slashed it, gave free junior membership for under 12s. There's a little bit of criteria attached to that. They had to join into the coaching schemes and stuff like that, but it was all free. And the 13 to 17 sort of fees were not, they were about £90. So we had the management on board. All the members who originally would give to, say, the captain's charity thought, well, I mean, and it's great, you give into certain charities, but I think they felt the time was right almost to sort of say, well, we'll give our money and we can see the benefit of the money we're giving to the club in the form of our junior members going out. They're wearing our red shirts and our black tops and our hats, and all that was paid for by the members. And so it gave them a little bit of a pride in seeing that, knowing that they, and all the sections did that. Our senior section was very supportive. Our ladies section fantastically supported, and obviously the men's section as well. So we pretty much had 100% support. 99% probably. I think for me, I was obviously putting in a lot of time for the coaching, because you can't. When I train the golfers, if I'm trying to get them up to course standard, I've got to take them out for the last hour of light in the day. I can't really sort of take them out at peak times. But then we started to get support from the members saying, well, we started holding foursomes tournaments where, an adult member would take out an inexperienced junior and that sort of thing, which were really popular events. That enthused the juniors a lot. That's what it is. You almost have to give them the bug, really, in a way, so that they want to keep coming down. Because it's, you can imagine the conversation between a parent and a junior. Do you want to go to the golf club today? Now, they've had a bad experience, or they've not been sort of playing well, or the weather's not. They might not want to go. So you want to feel that they're jumping out of bed and wanting to come to the coaching sessions or the competitions and that sort of thing. So you've got to keep that enthusiasm going.
Also, the point I was going to make as well is that getting the club on board as well is that. I mean, you mentioned about bringing them within the competitions as well. Is that for those people who aren't aware, your junior team, for example, you had two teams last year, and the junior league final for the county was between your A team and your B team. So those members now must look at the junior team and go, we backed it 5-6 years ago. There's the reward. There's the result. That's what you backed. I mean, how satisfying is that? And as it is, well, simple question: how satisfying is it?
Well, personally, very satisfying. But I think it's satisfying to every member. That they. Full of pride for the club, because we're a very sort of social club, really, in a way. We're obviously not a private club, but we're very welcoming. Pretty much all the members are very, very supportive of everything that goes on at the club. So I think the simple answer is really yes. We're very, very proud. But I mean, we're also proud of the fact that we're unbeaten in the sixes. No team has beaten us yet. Now, okay, I'm throwing down the gauntlet to the other teams, but that's great, because there should be strong academies or whatever. Every golf club should be, we should be having strong leagues. We shouldn't be sort of struggling to get teams representing their clubs. There's plenty of youngsters out there.
Now, obviously, success brings success, and obviously, by having better players, they go on. You would hope to go on and play in bigger competitions. Now, a friend of ours, a professional called Ryan Evans, who's from Northamptonshire, he's gone on to become a European Tour pro, currently playing on the Challenge Tour. I had a chat with him earlier this week about his experience of when he was a junior and an elite amateur golfer, and just it gives us an idea about the kind of financial pressures that those juniors you mentioned there might well face when they go on and play in big events. Let's just hear from Ryan.
I played obviously junior county golf, which is obviously covered by the county. I didn't play many junior elite amateur events apart from maybe the Caris and things like that. But then obviously moving up into the men's amateur golf, your costs are almost as close as potential Euro Pro events. You're traveling up and down the country. You're having to stay in hotels. The tournaments are 4 rounds with a practice round. You're eating out every night. Entry fees, petrol, it all adds up, and there's no prize money at the end of it. You're playing for points. Trying to build your career up and get into maybe the national squad, or you're just playing because you simply love golf and love competing in big events. But yeah, I mean, I would imagine most big amateur events or any amateur event over 4 days could easily cost well over 500 quid, 600 quid.
What would your advice be then to a junior or a young amateur who's coming through, and perhaps the club of how they can help them out?
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing it, I was still working, so I was in a call center, selling makeup, doing anything to make a few quid, because although my mum and dad helped me out, a hell of a lot, they gave me everything they could. I still had to put my own money towards it. I still had to, they couldn't afford to pay for everything, so I had to go and get some money. And I think I was making about £900 a month at the time, and all that just went back into my golf. So from that side, do whatever you can to make a few quid to help your parents out if they're not in a fortunate position to be able to pay for everything, or help fund you. And then the golf clubs, it's really difficult because it's hard to ask, for funding, especially if you've got clubs that have got 10, 11, 12, really good kids that can compete. It can turn out quite expensive. It's really difficult. You really need a big backer into junior golf or into your club teams and stuff to sort of help them out.
So that was obviously Ryan Evans talking about his experience of when he was a junior golfer and perhaps more so an elite amateur golfer. Now, you mentioned earlier, Brian, about Bailey Pike, who we know, who appeared on the podcast earlier in the year talking about college golf in the US. Now, we spoke about it actually in the last podcast, whereby she qualified for the grand final for the Faudo series. Now, obviously, that's going to be expensive for her, to go over to the States to college, and then potentially to have to get from there to the grand final in the UAE and then back again. And as a club, I mean, how difficult and what help can you possibly give someone in that position? And like I say, success breeds to success. This is something you may have to deal with on more and more regular basis.
That's right. That's the challenge. We've got to keep getting people who want to put money into the benefit of junior golf. That creates more good juniors, so we need to find more money for them as well. I mean, we're really pleased to have helped Bailey as much as we can this year as a club. Some money came from some junior funds we had. We also have some people may be aware of, we have the Tim Stockdale Foundation, which was, Tim, as you probably remember, was an international show jumper, and sadly died about 4 or 5 years ago. And he was very passionate about not just golf, but young people in sport, giving them a chance, all sorts of sports. And Laura, Tim's widow, she felt what we were trying to do at Overston was sort of matched in a way, what Tim's dream was, so we sort of developed what we call the sounds a bit corny, but it was the Sporting Stars of the Future kind of academy. And we initially had 4 players, Amy Nunn, Bailey Pike, Ollie Godwin, who was from the scholarship scheme, or the original captain scheme, which is really fantastic, and Jaden Pham. Now the criteria was, we keep looking at each year, but the criteria then was to try and sort of get to single figures, and then they got a grant from this fund, and we're into, I think, the 3rd or 4th year of it now, which is a £1,000 grant going towards additional expenses, because obviously when they start playing in regional and international events, like Ryan was saying there, the expenses go up massively. So that £1,000, it doesn't actually go a long way, but it does help. And so we're very glad that that will be going to Bailey and the others. So it was interesting listening to Ryan there, actually, because I remember Ryan when I was junior team manager, county junior team manager. Ryan was just going through his last year as a junior, and when he talked about sort of working in call centres, it was really sad because I wanted him to play in the county team, but he obviously had to work a lot of the time, so I couldn't get in for the matches. And he obviously a fantastic talent, and he had a wrist injury, which is a bit worrying for him as well. But so I never really got a chance to sort of see him perform at county level. But it's obviously great to see he's come through the county system in some way.
Now, there's another thing which happened 2 years ago, whereby I was contacted by a junior open at Nuneaton. They wanted more players to play in their competition, and I thought, well, I know a professional who's got a few juniors who might be interested in that. So I contacted you and said, would you be interested in sending some of your juniors to it, kind of thing? And you did, and it was a fantastic field. There was about 80-90 players playing it, and you sent 15 of your juniors to go there. And I've actually got a photo of the conditions on the day. I think it's credit to your juniors, the fact that they came along and played at this competition, because it wasn't the nicest of weather, kind of thing. But just to give us an idea about what you did, how you helped fund them to go and play in those competitions, because in inverted commas, it was only a junior open. It wasn't anything major, but it was an opportunity for your players to play outside the county, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was perfect, because a lot of them had just got their first handicaps, and they kind of understood what it was about, so they were keen to sort of go to other courses. It's great, like you're doing the British Junior Progress Tour now, which is allowing our juniors to go to other clubs within the county a bit more. But yeah, I think we had the money. We were able to pay all their entries. I can't remember what it cost us. In fact, we decided, probably on the basis of that, to enter them all to every junior open in the county that year. So it cost £1,500, I think, to enter every junior open and all our juniors to play in them. So I think we got the nickname the Red Army or something, because we were going everywhere, and usually sort of doing very well. So we were kind of doing really well in events, winning some of them. But it wasn't the winning. It was just like the fact that they were going away and having a great time. So, but it was the money that we received initially from the captains, gave us quite a good fund that allowed us to do that. I mean, for instance, we took a coach load of juniors to the Ladies Open at Woburn and things like that, which we had juniors going away from that thinking, oh, I want to be a professional golfer. So it really, things like that helped enthuse them. But that all that sort of, to keep that continuity, that obviously takes money. So it's that the work or the support you get from the Golf Foundation is fantastic. It gives you good publicity, but you have to convince people into the club to help the junior section. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of people doing that. I mean, a lot of people donate clubs to us that we can sell on to the juniors, and or we might have clubs that we can sell to beginners, and that money that they pay for those clubs then goes into the junior funds. So it is a constant thing, sort of fundraising, and it's very nice when people give you a chunk of money, because it doesn't mean to say you haven't got to work for it, but it does give you a little bit of security. About allows to buy kit, shirts, enter junior events, stuff like that. If we've got a junior that sort of, we need to give them some expenses for something, or their parents, because they've got to drive them up to Scotland or something like that. We'll always try and help them as a club. So we try to create that culture, but it does take money to keep it going.
Yeah, and I think I'm right in thinking. I think you mentioned the Ladies Open at Woburn. I vaguely remember being, at Royal Lytham, whereby you took a group up to Royal Lytham for the Men's Open as well.
That was Royal Birkdale. Yeah, we had another coach load to that. We took about 50 odd to that, really. So that was great. I mean, that really was superb fun. Yeah.
And also, I mean, what did that, when they're coming back? I mean, you mentioned there that the girls wanted to become professional golfers and like that. I mean, that must, once again, you take pride in the watching them enjoying their golf, but also that as well, the fact that they're enjoying all aspects of golf, not just the playing side, but watching it as well, kind of like falling in love with the sport as a whole.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I mean, that comes, I think, from the well, obviously me as a coach, I have to. It's not just about teaching them how to swing. It's kind of like teaching them, all aspects of the game, really. And I think once they start enjoying it, because as you say, we all know golf is not an easy game. So if it was that easy, maybe it wouldn't be so much fun. So I think that's an important thing as well. Getting over the whole package. And then almost wanting them to enthuse them to learn and keep improving. I always have this saying that golf is it's like a cycle of fun, learning, and improving. Fun, learning, improving. It's all those three have got to keep working in a cycle. If you take one of them out, then the whole thing breaks down, really.
What about one word as well, which like I say, I've known you for many years and I've seen the work that you do. What about legacy, in the sense of, as what happened with you, whereby you went away and when you came back a few years later, it wasn't there? Is there something in place whereby it's not based on Brian Mudge, it's based on a bigger thing than that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see, we've got a couple of young lads now working at the club, who I hope they will sort of get the junior bug as well, sort of keep it going, because it has to be a combination of coaching led, committee led. We've got a great junior organizer, Dave Godwin, and his son helps, Ollie, who's junior captain this year, but he's got a team of very helpful volunteers who are parents of or grandparents of the children that play. So there's no egos there at all. They all muck in and help, and it's all very friendly. But obviously Dave, for instance, will move on. So we hope that we'll have another junior organizer that will take on, the brunt of the organising, which is not necessarily admin, but it's also just getting the get-togethers every Saturdays or Sundays. They're getting them up there for little fun social competitions or official handicap competitions. That's all part of it. So the legacy is, because I'm getting on a bit now, obviously. Although I always remember something that the highly respected guy, Mr. Peter Alice, sadly not with us anymore. I think he said it quoted about 40 or 50 years ago, saying, two things he felt very strongly about. One was there should be more short development courses in the country to get people into the game, and that's still the case, and there's probably still not enough of them. The other one's that junior golf is a matter of high importance and discussed at the highest level, at full committee level, not just subcommittee or board level if it's a managed golf club or whatever. So and I think that's very true. It's because it's a bit of a it's almost brushed under the carpet for a lot of people, isn't it, really? So I think club parents who are bringing children into the game need to know that golf clubs are welcoming, or that's my feeling anyway, that there should be some kind of charter, that can be presented to parents, that can be effectively universally taken on board. I know not every club is junior friendly, but that's fine, I suppose, if they don't want to be, because if you can be a really enthusiastic coach, but if you haven't got the support of your club, then you're pretty much flogging a dead horse, really. So
I suppose the whole point of this podcast is to say that funding of golf is key to that as well, and that's the reason why I brought you on, Brian, because I wanted to obviously give you the opportunity to explain what you've done at Overston Park. Obviously we're running out of time now, so we'll bring Ian back in because we can have a chat about the next podcast, which just out of interest, Brian, you might be interested in watching the next podcast, because the next podcast is about health and fitness in golf, which...
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant. That's the whole package. Yeah. It's great because Josh, because we, as you know, we've got a gymnasium at our club, and Josh, who's one of the fitness instructors, he's done a lot of studying and taking some exams. He's taken some. He's got himself DBS now, and he's running sort of regular Friday night junior fitness classes, and he's doing it for the seniors as well. So he's a really so enthusiastic. So he's a good guy. We want loads of people, enthusiastic coaches, enthusiastic fitness instructors, give good management, enthusiastic members, and everything's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I really appreciate
my parents as well. Forgot them.
Oh yes, yeah.
The chauffeurs, I call them, devoted chauffeurs.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Look, I really appreciate your time, Brian, and thanks so much for all the work you're doing to promote junior golf. It is appreciated, and as I mentioned there, the rewards are there. People, you would hope that people can see that when the effort is put in, the money's put in, and the time, the rewards come at the end of it, and I'm pleased that it's working out well for you, and long may it continue as well.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Ian.
Right. So next podcast, then, like we say, we're going to be talking about health and fitness. That's going to be in 2 weeks' time. On that, we've got a longer interview with Ryan Evans there, who's got a couple of things to talk about in particular. We're also going to be talking to a young lad who broke his back last year playing golf. So it's interesting to hear how he come through that. Might be a little bit something which you'll be well aware of, Brian, of being careful of over golfing them, and he thinks that he might have played a little bit too much golf when he was a junior. So we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to get some professional advice about how to deal with, because obviously dealing with a 6, 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old boy, girl, or whatever is very different from dealing with a 6, 17, 18-year-old who is growing as well as trying to hit the ball as hard as they can. So it's going to be a fascinating podcast in a couple of weeks' time.
Big subject.
Absolutely. So, and we've got more to come as well. Like I said, we've got a disability podcast coming up and others as well. So anyone who has any ideas about what junior podcast we could be doing, please get in touch, because we're all welcome to ideas, and we'll talk to anyone about various different things. So
I will just give you a plug as well, Steve. That's the Progress Junior Golf website at the bottom. There is a link in the body of this broadcast, or wherever you're watching it across Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn. Give it a click. You can contact Steve on his website. That's the website. Check it out. It's an absolute gold mine as well, by the way. If you're looking to find a junior golf talk, it's not on that website. It doesn't exist. It's fact.
Absolutely. Right. We shall see you in 2 weeks' time then. Thanks very much, Ian. Thanks very much, Brian. Thanks very much also for Ryan and also for Stacey as well. Really appreciate everyone's time, and have a good evening.
Ciao, ciao.